The rain poured relentlessly over the dark streets of Gravestone City, where power was currency and morality was a distant memory. Jacob Black ruled as the unchallenged underworld dawns in the shadowy alleys and dim-lit warehouses. His name struck fear into the hearts of many, and his empire stretched far and wide, built on a foundation of blood, betrayal, and brutality. But beneath the surface of Jacob's immense power lay a secret, so vile it would one day come back to haunt him, a secret born of desperation and treachery. One fateful night, Jacob's empire came under siege. A rival, a local don named Victor Malvado, had kidnapped Jacob's only son, Ethan. The boy was just 12 years old, innocent to the darkness his father thrived in. Bound and bruised, Ethan was held hostage in a decrepit warehouse, surrounded by Victor's ruthless enforcers. Victor clarified his demands. "Give me control of the docks, or your son dies." Jacob, a man who had never bent to anyone, found himself at a crossroads. He knew ceding the docks would weaken his empire, in exchange for sparing his life and empire. Jacob sold his son to Victor, knowing full well what horrors awaited him. "Take him," Jacob said, his voice cold and detached. "Do what you will." Victor laughed, a guttural sound filled with malice. "You're a true businessman, Jacob. A heartless one, but a businessman nonetheless." And so, Ethan was dragged away into the shadows, screaming his father's name, pleading for mercy. But Jacob didn't look back. For 2 long years, Ethan lived in hell. Victor, a sadist at heart, subjected the boy to unspeakable horrors. Days turned into nights filled with pain and anguish. Starvation, beatings, and psychological torment became Ethan's new reality. Yet, amidst the suffering, the boy's spirit refused to break. Each lashing, each humiliation, hardened him. Hatred burned in his heart, a fire so fierce it consumed the remnants of his innocence. In the darkness of Victor's dungeon, Ethan swore vengeance, not just on Victor, but on the man who had betrayed him, his father. Ethan's escape was as brutal as the years he endured. At 14, he orchestrated a revolt among Victor's own men, exploiting their greed and dissatisfaction. Blood soaked the walls of the warehouse as Ethan emerged victorious, standing over Victor's lifeless body. But killing Victor wasn't enough. Ethan knew that true power came not just from revenge, but from control. He took over Victor's operations, rebuilding them with precision and ruthlessness that far surpassed his father's. By the time he turned 18, Ethan, now known as the Phantom, had carved out his own empire. His reputation was one of cold efficiency and merciless retribution. Tales of his rise spread like wildfire, but his true identity remained shrouded in mystery. Few knew the young Don was the forsaken son of Jacob Black. Jacob's empire had begun to crumble under the weight of new competition. His once loyal allies turned against him, lured by the promise of wealth and protection under the Phantom. Rumors reached Jacob's ears about the mysterious new Don who was systematically dismantling his operations. Desperate and paranoid, Jacob sought to confront this rival. The meeting was arranged in a dilapidated mansion on the outskirts of Gravestone City. Jacob entered the room, his once imposing figure now frail and weary. Across from him sat Ethan, his face obscured by the shadows. "So you're the one," Jacob said, his voice trembling. "The Phantom." Ethan stepped into the light, and Jacob's breath caught in his throat. The boy he had abandoned had grown into a man who bore the scars of his betrayal. "Ethan's?" Jacob whispered, disbelief and guilt washing over him. "Father," Ethan replied, his voice cold and devoid of emotion. "Did you think I'd forget?" Jacob fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. "I had no choice," he pleaded. "It was to save the Empire." Ethan's lips curled into a bitter smile. "And what is an empire worth without your own bloods?" Ethan didn't kill Jacob outright. That would have been too merciful. Instead, he subjected his father to the same torment he had endured. Jacob was stripped of his power, his allies, and his dignity. Forced into hiding, he lived out his days haunted by the ghosts of his past. Meanwhile, Ethan ruled over Gravestone City with an iron fist. He became a legend, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones among criminals. His reign was marked by both terror and a twisted sense of justice, ensuring no child would ever suffer as he had. But deep down, in the quiet moments of the night, Ethan's heart remained a battlefield. The scars of betrayal and the weight of his vengeance left him hollow, a man forever haunted by the choices of his father and the monster they had both become.